right, so let's get rolling this morning. Like I said, we don't have anything on Caravan, and that's likely because of spring break. So we have a little bit of a mild attendance, but I'm glad you guys are here. So thank you very much. Upcoming things on our calendar, we had Master yesterday, and that was very good. We had some March of Dimes money roll in for that, so thank you for that. We're going to do some more March of Dimes fundraising here soon. More to come from Tina and Alex on that. Alex is actually on spring break this week as well. Next week on the 19th, Jimmy and Andrew have their regular loan officer meeting, so they will not be in the office for at least the first portion of the day, excuse me. And I will be out of the office all day on the 19th. That's Wednesday for our leadership retreat. It's an in-town leadership retreat. I actually don't even know where we're going yet. I don't think they know where we're going yet, but I will be available by phone, mostly text. And then that same week, we have Michael Scarfile joining us for our sales meeting. Did you know Michael will be here for your birthday? I just saw that. Wow, maybe even your present. Oh, so Jimmy and Andrew will be here. So perfect. And then that Saturday, a week from this coming Saturday, is the March of Dimes walk. So that should be really, really nice. That's downtown. I'll remind you guys of that. We have a lunch and learn coming up on the 26th. Oh, also, let's rewind. I didn't add this to the calendar. On the 18th, we're doing a lunch and learn or a brunch and learn. We're having breakfast with C&T Foundations. So they're going to come talk to us about some of the things that they're seeing, crawl spaces, structural wise, and we'll do a Q&A before that. So that way he actually gives you guys information that you want to hear. And then another one coming up with a woman on docks, permitting, structures on docks, lengths of docks, all the things that come with that. Yeah, I think that one will be a good one. And then we have a DEI potluck on the 27th. So lots of things going on there, lots of things happening. Stacey Brooks brought in C&T to me, so she's excited about that one. I think it'll be helpful. I had him send me his presentation. The risk we run with those sort of things, I'm always open to bringing those kind of people in. That information is valuable for you guys, but I don't want it to be a sales pitch because you guys don't need that. So I had to be very, very clear. He needed to send me his presentation in advance. So it looks good. And like I said, we'll get some questions from you guys in advance. So that way he's giving you guys the information you want to hear. Quick reminder on the bus tour that's coming up. Patrice was like, yeah, I got to get on that. That is on April 19th, next week. You can sign up. Gail had the information. Gail, did you send that all out to the office? Okay. We can send it out to the office. It seemed like it was a little bit confusing on how to sign up. So. Uh-huh. Yeah. That's why I'm not getting yeah, because nobody knows how to sign up. Okay, we'll send it out. I'll make a note for Tony to send that out this afternoon. Okay, March of Dimes, there is some fun stuff in the kitchen if you haven't seen it already. And I know Alex is on vacation this week. Tina, you had texted me this morning that you were going to be at home online. Let me see if you were able to dial in this morning yet.
I'm here.
Tina, there you go. Do you want to add about March of Dimes fundraiser stuff?
Sure. Y'all, as always, are awesome. Y'all came through yesterday. I think we made over $200 with breakfast that Maggie brought in. And then we've also got some tickets going into a raffle. We've got to talk about when we're going to pull for that, whether it'll be next Thursday or whether we maybe wait till after March of Dimes. So we give all the way up until Saturday to be able to raise money for it. I think I've got 3 or 4 other places I have to follow up with who said they'd be donating stuff for the raffle. Some of the stuff I think there's moonshine, there's kids' toys, there's all sorts of liquor up there, I think. So, but I was just blown away yesterday that I know we ask a lot of each other, but we're always there to support each other. And everybody just was so ready to jump in and be a part of it yesterday. So thanks, y'all.
That's awesome. Did you guys know that code word for moonshine is peppers? No. I'm like, why do you need a code word for moonshine unless you're not supposed to be drinking it? Weird. Okay, well, there's some great stuff in there. Tina, thank you very much for taking the bull by the horns with that. Obviously, a great cause. You guys know my nephew was very premature. He always says that he remembers when he was that small. Does not remember when he was 1 pound. But thank you very much. More to come on that. And the walk again is next Saturday in Hampton Park. So we'll remind everybody of that. Be fun to get a good group. Yesterday, we did multiple offer strategies. That was great, and it was fun. We talked a lot about personality types, and it's so funny because when you go through the personality types, the outgoing and high energy personality types, when you're talking about those, get a lot of chatter in the room and a lot of high energy. And then when you start talking about the more reserved personality types, it gets very quiet and no one wants to say anything. So it's just funny how that goes. But the whole message there yesterday was, if you know the type of personalities you're dealing with in a certain negotiation, that it plays a huge advantage to you and your strategy and your approach. So I did record that. I will make sure that the sound is good. And if it is, I will send it out to you guys later this afternoon. Okay. All right, production. So for the month of April, we've got 6 listings so far at 3.3 million, average price of $552. We've got 23 sales for 16.8 million, average price of $734, and 14 closings for 6.8 million, average price of $490. So that's a really strong start to the month of April. On the board, on the listing side for April so far, we've got the Perella Group, the Northrop team, Smith team with 2 listings, Renee Kramer team, and JDM Property Group. And then on the sales side, the Perella Group with 5, Emma Falconer, Fessler team with 2, Whitley Boyd with 2, Nick Hassig, Doug Gepford, Melissa Loy, Pam Bishop, Jen Huffman, Ashley James has 2, the Ida Levitt team also with 2, the Leet Rand team, the Northrop team, Nia Swinton Jenkins, and JDM Property Group. And then on the closing side, Laura Goolsby with 2 closings, Renee Kramer team, Paige Pollock, Ashley James, the Fessler team with 2, Perella Group with 3, DuBose Cuthbert, the House team, Homes of the Low Country, and Whitley Boyd. So thank you guys very much for a great start to April. That's very nice to see. Our top performers for the month of March, we finally wrapped up March. It feels like it was forever ago. But on the listing unit side, as an individual, we've got Laura Goolsby. And then on the team side, the Fessler team. So top units there on listings. That's awesome. We love listings, right? On top listing volume, Mary Cedarquist and the Renee Kramer team. Congrats to you ladies. On our unit side for sales, we've got Bonnie Cook, top sales units, and the Perella Group on the team side. Good stuff there. Bonnie got a new headshot. Isn't that fun? All pink. It's Carol style. And then on top sales volume, we've got Emma Falconer and the Perella Group again. Good stuff. Almost can't even see Emma. She like kind of just a little silhouette there. And then on closings, our favorite one, right? Top closings individual, Jen Huffman, who is on her way to Great Wolf Lodge with her kiddos and her fiance. And then on the top unit closing team side, we've got the Homes of the Low Country. We need them to get a new headshot, like together, perhaps. Like, what the heck? So it's like, first of all, those pictures are from like 1997, right? Like, we're going to have to give them some grief. What is that? And then Jen's over there looking super stylish, like always. I'm going to have to talk to him about that. Like, what the heck? Yeah. Like, what the heck, guys? They probably aren't even together often enough to get a picture of them together. That's the funny part, right? Right. And then also same teams and individual on top units, closings on volume. So good stuff, guys. Thank you very much. It's always fun to see. I have a vision for our top people for the month, every month, to go down this hallway, but I can't figure out how to fit all of the certificates on the wall, like literally from floor to ceiling. So I'm trying to figure that out. But I might have to do it by quarters. It seems like there's a lot of space there until you start measuring it out. And then when Alyssa was here, she's like, wow, we're really going to look like a preschool classroom. And I'm like, I don't care. If it gives people recognition, I don't care. Okay, so some upcoming members. Excuse me. Just so you know, there are 5 MLS associations that I am a member of. Why am I telling you that? 1, because that's a lot. 2, because our market has grown. But 3, we have a lot of resources for agents in our kind of general area, but outside of our association. So before you refer to somebody outside of our office or our company, ask me if we have somebody in the office who has experience in that market and if we're a member. So what are those associations? Myrtle Beach, Columbia, Sumter, Beaufort, and Charleston. Yeah. Duh. Sorry. I was like, is there one more? And there is another one that we're considering joining, which is Bluffton. So If I'm not a member, there's chances are that one of the other brokers is a member because of somebody in their office with experience. I will only join an association if that agent has a very compelling reason for us to be joining that association. In other words, we're not going to join a new association and go through all of that stuff, because it's just like joining our association. You got to do an orientation, you got to do classes, you got to do the MLS stuff, you got to pay a big fee, and then you got to pay monthly or quarterly dues. So it's a lot of work, but if you have a couple of transactions there and you know the area and can represent clients well, then we'll do it. But if it's just like, oh, I have somebody who wants to buy in Hilton Head now instead of Charleston, it makes more sense to refer them to somebody in Hilton Head, which I'm not a member of. Okay. Personal property addendum and new buyer agency verbiage. I haven't heard anything, so I think maybe that's good. Have you guys heard anything?
Personal property addendum on Sky Slope already?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question on that.
Okay.
Okay, so, and this might have already been answered, and I've been here, so I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Okay, so you got that personal property. What happens if, I guess, say, with that,
Mhm.
you sign that, even if there's stuff on there that's not gonna convey, because it's not the property, they're still just signing that as that's on there, I mean, like.
Strike through it. You're saying, so like an example, if there's a Ring doorbell on the personal property addendum, which there is, and there is none, strike through it.
So, okay, so how does we do that? Guys, let's have the ability to.
Yeah.
So you just have to go down and cross off all of that?
Yep.
So is that a CTR form or a Carolina one?
It's a Carolina 1 form, and there is I think it's a whole leadership team discussion, which means it's going to take 3 hours, on whether or not we're actually going to maintain it as a required form. Originally, it came out and it was said that it was an SCR required form. So that's why we adopted making it a mandatory form. But now, not in our office that I've heard of, but there's been a little bit of pushback from other companies that are like, my client's not signing this. And so if the client's not signing it, there's nothing we can do about it. We got to move forward. We can't make it a mandatory form.
Okay, so once I sign it, then you're left to go back to the contract and enter everything in the lines, right? So it kind of is.
Yeah.
Defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So it'd be good if you've got Carolina 1 and Carolina 1, but if you got Carolina 1 and Boulevard.
Right. Bless you. Yes.
Most of it might not be, because the other question I have is, what if something conveys or you want it to convey that's not on that?
Then you got to do just like you normally would.
You have to go back and add.
Yep. It takes care of a ton of stuff that has been coming up last minute that becomes an argument. So I think it's a great form. It seems like the general consensus is that when an agent from our side is sending it to, say, a Boulevard agent, and they've never seen it before, they're like, wow, this is great. Where'd you get this? You're like, oh boy.
Yeah. It's just, you know, like we've had some unusual stuff, like if you have
Yeah.
a wall, or you've got something that is just to that property.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, okay, we've got to make sure that's somewhere in the contract.
Yeah. So they didn't add a spot to add items, but there is a spot to remove items, or you can strike through. And the reason they didn't want to add a spot to include a spot to add items is because then you're in the personal bill of sale world. So
the ring doorbell is considered property,
yes,
a separate property from that.
it's attached to the house. It should convey, but people are removing them. Same as like Nest
They
thermostats.
got to replace it with something.
Right. But if I go to the house and I see the house and I go into contract on the house with the Ring doorbell, I want that Ring doorbell. So if you replace it with a regular doorbell, I'm going to be annoyed.
So it needs to be in the listing. Right?
Maybe in Park Circle.
It needs to be in the listing, does not convey.
Right.
It also says in there that they're going to take away their access to that, so the
Yes.
doorbell and the cameras,
Like
blah,
the,
blah, they had to remove the seller's access.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good. Yeah, it definitely includes everything. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's comprehensive for sure. I think at the time of listing, it's a huge benefit to you guys. Go through it with your seller and post it on MLS. So then when they submit an offer, they can submit the offer with your already signed document from your seller. Okay, good feedback. So I'll let you know if it's no longer a required form. I don't know when that conversation is, probably coming up next week, I think. It may even be today on our 3 o'clock call. I'll let you know. New buyer agency verbiage. We heard a little bit of pushback in the beginning on that, but I haven't heard anything since. So I think we're smooth sailing on that. I was with an agent from that company that Katrina mentioned the other day. And she's like, what new buyer agency verbiage? And I was like, well, I'll send it to you. So you know what's going on in the business that you're in. So you're going to have those challenges all the time. Another reminder on forewarn. I was with 2 agents from Casina the other day, and they were like, what are you talking about? And then I pulled it up and we put their phone numbers in, and they were really nervous, and then they're blown away. Well, it's certainly better than nothing.
It is not. And
Mhm.
they said, well, it's 75.
I'll take 75% over not knowing who someone is, though, right? I think the biggest thing, if Pam calls me and Pam's a complete stranger to me, at least I can verify that the phone number she's calling me from is Pam. That's important. But if Pam also has this huge rap sheet, then maybe I want to think twice about what I'm going to do with my next step with her, right? So it's definitely helpful to protect us. But I think also verifying information, Pam saying it's maybe 75% accurate. What they're telling us, yeah, and it might be less than that, who knows. But for me, it was completely accurate. So my criminal infractions, my speeding tickets. If we pulled up Tyler, there'd be like 10 speeding tickets. Silly motorcycle of his. Okay, coffee bean activity contest update. This has been exciting. I know that I was talking to an agent the other day who's like, 2 agents actually, who are real hot to trot on this contest. So that's really exciting. We've got prizes coming up. We've got a $400 prize. We have a $300, $200, and a $100 prize. In our office, the people we've got playing this past week are Tina Campbell Byers, Paul Lynch, Kimberly Ritter, Dominique House, Allison Stottlemyre, Allie Atwell, Laura Poppy, Rosalie Martone, Ariana, and Jill. So congrats to you guys. We are allowing Tina, you are not here, but you can pick from our wonderful set of prizes. You can pick the tool that Paul, for some reason, did not want, the weapon, the multi-tool, and I'll keep adding to that as well, but I'm surprised nobody snagged that hat yet. So make sure you enter your stats in there each week. What is the cutoff for entering? Is it Wednesday? Friday? Friday? Monday at noon. It's someday. Just make sure you enter your stats at some point. I think Kristen and Paul, what did you say? It is Monday at noon. Okay, so you could do it daily if you wanted to, and it will accumulate, but just make sure you get your stuff in there. My deadline on my stuff that we have to do is Wednesday, so I always get that confused. They should just make them all the same. Make it a lot easier. But thanks for playing, Tina. Next time you're in the office, feel free to grab from our little swag section there. All right, Jimmy and Andrew, want to talk to us about SE housing? Jimmy does. Because Jimmy knows about it.
Good morning, everyone. Just to, I guess, preface this, we may end up presenting on this again. This is a great program. It goes quick. And since everybody's kind of out, we may revisit this in the future. So I just did a training on the Palmetto Heroes, which is a bond program through SC Housing that they fund once per year, and the funds go very quickly. It is a down payment assistance loan. So we wanted to talk to you about it really quickly. All right, this is how this program works. It is a $10,000 forgivable down payment closing cost assistance loan. One thing to point out, is anybody familiar with this? Has anybody used it?
Have we had it like last year? Did you say that? Didn't it run out of
Every
money?
year, but it runs out of money so quick.
Yeah, it comes out
Yeah.
in January, right? So I just said it's
No, it comes out. Correct. Yeah, it's like a month. So, yep. Yes. Yeah. It's all over the place, but it goes really quickly. Although,
He asked about it because they're going to be putting an advertisement in the paper. It's Sunday about it.
yes.
Well, they're going to announce it. It comes out on April 17th.
Yes, it does run out very quickly. He said last year they were gone in 6 weeks. This year they're hoping to get 6 to 8 weeks out of it. But the way it works is it's $10,000 forgivable down payment loan. That loan is a second silent, which means they don't pay on it. There's no interest, there's no payments, and it's forgivable after 10 years. If they, I do just want to point out, if you have any teachers or anybody that qualifies, I specifically asked him that repayment is an all or nothing thing. So if they sell in year 8, they're on the hook for all 10,000 of it, right? It's not like a prorated step down. If they sell or refinance within that 10 years, they pay that money back. Let's see if there's anything else.
Is it like, what is it, if you're going on a listing appointment, how do you know if somebody has, like, other than asking them?
Asking them.
And then you say, I don't remember that.
It's a second thing. So
They'll find it.
It'll show up in credit.
It says that in the packet.
It won't show up on a credit report.
No.
It's not a loan.
It'll show up.
On the deed, on the,
Title search.
Oh.
But that's a good question. And I would assume a lot of people don't know. In this market, probably not anything to worry about because everybody has so much equity. But yeah, that's definitely something to at least ask about. One thing I'll say about this loan that is super huge right now is the interest rates are great and credit score doesn't matter. So as long as they have to qualify, so 620 is the minimum credit score. The interest rate that they get is the same for everybody, and it's 0.5% less than the published rate that SC Housing publishes every day, which today is 6 1/8. So they would get 5.675 on this, regardless of their credit score. So pretty cool. Go ahead. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And also the guy that our state housing rep, what's his name, Andrew? Claude Spurlock. He's the guy that teaches the course, and he's the guy that kind of runs all this. And I mean, he gave us the impression, and Andrew can probably speak to this more, that like, let's just say that they refinance the home, or no, if they refinance the home, but they have like a financial hardship and can't pay it back. I mean, he gave us the impression that they're going to work with these people if, paying it back is a hardship or something like that. He even told me when I asked the all or nothing question, I actually asked it that way. I said, if they pay it back in year 8, is it all or nothing? And he kind of made it out to be like it's a case by case. Like if they sell it in year 8, right? I would tell your buyers it is an all or nothing thing. But as far as to your point, I mean, estate housing, like they are looking to help these people. So if that $10,000 becomes a hardship, I'm assuming they're going to work with those people.
it's effectively what, I mean, think about it like a gift from a family member. You don't have to pay that from out. And most people, when they get the gift, love that they're actually paying that. It's no different from the state housing.
Yeah, I mean, again, since they can't refinance without paying it back, right? They're probably going to have at least some equity in the home if they sell it. What?
Yeah, when they sell it, yeah. It's a second silent one.
There's no impetus for them to pay it.
Oh, the only impetus is selling the house.
So it's a loan while you have it.
Over, I mean, the average time frame that somebody stays in a house is, but I think I was 1.5 or 3.5.
I think the average life of the loan is 3.5. The average life of a homeowner in the same home is 7 to 10.
So it's likely that even if they refinance, they're gonna have the equity.
But I mean, just think about it, guys. If somebody did this, one of your buyers did this 3 years ago, and they're selling today, that $10,000 is not an issue, right? Right. So
The difference between somebody getting in and out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
When you get it, man, you pay it back.
well, no, because that's a great point. That's a great point, right? Because this is, I mean, there is no payment on this 10,000, so it is free money for that 10 years.
Because they help fund the
Right. Dominique asked if they pay it back in the 9th year. That you say if they sell it in the 9th year, do the sellers pay this back?
Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes, Dominique.
Is it a term on it? Is it a term on
Hey, you.
it? Okay. You have to say that you-
All right, who qualifies? Teachers we talked about, but this extends to law enforcement, correctional officers. I was a little confused. He said that they don't do regular dispatch operators, but they will. 911 operators do qualify. So just like a standard dispatch officer does not, operator does not, but a 911 operator does. Firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and then of course veterans, active duty personnel. Again, they also qualify for VA. And then licensed medical professionals. Obviously, a lot of doctors are not going to be able to use this because of the income limits. We'll get to that in a minute. But the income limits are actually pretty good. It shows up in. Oh, okay, nice. So yes, here are the income limitations, and the max home price is the same. It's $350. Yeah.
What's important to know about the income limit is it's tougher than anybody over the age of 18 works. They don't get a roommate.
One other thing, and Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding in all this is they can still put money down.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So the interest rate is so good, right? That like we have a teacher right now that she's got $25,000 saved for her down payment, and she's got great credit. The interest rate on this though is better than what she would qualify for on her own right now, right? So it's beneficial even for her to take advantage of it, even though she has down payment money. So in Charleston, basically what you need to know is the income limit is 96.4, and then in all other counties, it's 115 is the income limit for one person, and then 110 for 3 or more person household, and 134,960.
Here's where these numbers matter. Is it's not being on the loan.
It's total household.
Whoever's in the household member. So if it's 2 people and a kid, it's a 3-person household. We're already at a higher income limit now. The qualify, right? If it's 2 people and an 18-year-old son that just moved back in, we have to count that income qualifying because it is a 3-person household. Does that make sense how I'm saying that? Don't get it exactly right. Yes, and there's an affidavit that anybody in the household that they have to sign either on behalf of the child or guardian or whatever, or not making it. If they're paying Social Security income or disability income.
So don't bring your parents into your house.
Right. And then lastly, and we have already talked about this stuff, but I will point out the New reservations for this loan start on the 17th. So that's when people can start, they call it reservations in state housing. That's when funds are actually available. Yep.
Yeah, Monday.
So Monday. That's why I wanted to present on this today. They're hoping funds last at least 8 to 12 weeks. So just to be more specific on that, there's $35 million available. So if you think about it, the max loan amount is 350, right? That's 100 loans if everybody maxes it out. Yeah.
And it's for the whole state.
For the state. So
Is it 100 or 1,000?
no, it's 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
1,000 loans. 1,000
Here's
loans
where
for the
rub
state.
lies with this.
I'm sorry.
This is where the rub lies with that too, is that you want to get them pre-approved now. Because they have to have a home deal to make the reservation.
Right. It works that, and that was the last thing I want to talk about. Pre-approval process works the exact same. So you don't need to change anything on that end, right? You put them in touch with us. I mean, there's a few different things on our end, but as far as you're concerned and they're concerned, they're still just applying for a loan. I had a lady applying specifically for this the other day, and she's like, where do I put in this program? Where do I, like, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. And I'm like, you don't need to worry about any of that. You just need to apply, and then we'll get you in the right loan program. So nothing changes from the borrower perspective
If you have a
on the
buyer
front end.
that may be considering this, so the reason it's kind of to get it it's possible is because if they are out shopping and the money runs out, and they're relying on that down payment to be able to purchase, they're not going to be able to make an offer to it.
Right.
And if they back out and money's gone,
I mean,
they can't roll through another new property.
I mean, they could switch to state housing, but the interest rate will go up.
That is
Right.
one thing actually. So I've been telling you guys about it for and not by design, but it worked out. But the state housing, the regular state housing loan program is never out of line.
But that just changed.
Oh, it did just change. Okay.
It just,
I will from now on.
yeah. And I wonder if this ends up going that route, but the state housing, they used to get one bond a year. So they had to anticipate how much money they needed at the beginning of the year, and then those funds would run out. Claude was saying that this now they are getting 4 and 5 bonds a year. So when the bond runs out, they have, I guess, different, I don't pretend to know exactly how that end of it works, but basically he's got multiple avenues where he can get new bonds. Yeah. I don't know if you can do that, but if you go to SC, and I can send the link out. If you go to SC Housing, do you know what, Nia? Website, SC?
SC housing.
I think it's schousing.com
Is it or?
or org. You can, there's tabs, and you can see if the program is still funded, if funds available. I don't know if it shows the amount or not. And then it's gone. You can see if funds are available.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying that when you're having a conversation with the buyers, well, I don't know that this is possible.
Right.
You do have to be approved to state housing. There's a list on
That's also a line. That's like
my name has been on the list since 2010. And I didn't even know that either. Yeah, there's a whole list of whoever's approved. But they're not accurate. The information's not even updated. It'll say Andrew right there. Working, well, actually, it'll say Jimmy now, because I got Jimmy. I'm serious, I think I did.
No, so that's a great question. So the cool thing about this program is that you're still doing a conventional FHA, VA loan, right? You're just getting the bond with it. So obviously condos are out for FHA because nothing's on the condo approved list. Very small. But if they find a condo, we just do a conventional loan through this program. And yep.
I talked about a trash bill, but it's actually a pretty program. It's a really fantastic program. It's the only reason I joke around about that is because that process is super difficult. And as hard as it used to be, it's streamlined process. We don't have control.
And the rate spread was not as good, right?
And the race spread wasn't.
See, one of the things in this market is that the rates are so competitive because regular interest rates are so inflated.
I used to tell people all the time that if you have your own funds available, then the state housing program is because of the fact that it takes long and we don't control the process and rates were typically higher rates of property. That is the process. The rates are better.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about here specifically now. In regular state housing is probably more so comparable to regular rates.
Correct.
Uh,
But it's still, but again, it's still comparable. So
still comparable.
there's a benefit.
in the process.
No. But you could go from this to the state housing. So again, if funds were to run out, you know, you could do the state housing program. The some differences though. Again, purchase price is lower in state housing, so 275 versus 350. It's a little bit harder to find something for that. Interest rate is higher. Again, I think it's 6.25. So a couple differences. The forgivable term is a little bit different. It is less money. It's $8,000 instead of 10.
Is there a difference this time for between new construction and the regular?
I did not see anything on that.
It used to be with this, so it's 7,500 acres.
Nope, I didn't see anything on that. Income limits are roughly the same for both, but for this one, he's got Charleston County is 96, and then this shows Berkeley and Dorchester. All that Charleston is a non-targeted county. The rest of the counties that we work in are considered targeted counties. So they have higher income limits.
I think the money may actually last a little bit longer this time, but still around it. I go over 8 weeks, only because then bringing somebody qualified, it's less fun.
Same thing. Calculate income the same way. So like if they're W-2, then what they're making. If they're 1099, it's 2-year history, tax returns, all that stuff.
Can you own another property?
No.
You can't be, you cannot have ownership in a property where it is.
Any other questions? All right. Go ahead, Andrew.
All right, closings this week. Davis and Rivers Group. New contracts that I would love to see. The floors, I would love to see Jill Barrett, independent buyer, Dominic has. And inquiries, access for Vincent Peachy, Paige Collins, Stacy Brooks from the property. Kate Santos, Vincent Norfolk, Ally Sims, Johanna Gomez, Marty Cook, Mary Theophilus, Josh Sheldon, Will Woolsey, Justin Stewart, John Rand. Thank you.
That state housing program, if only we could have a little bit more money to run out a little bit slower, right? Okay, before we jump to the mastery, I'm going to come back on this. I want to do our upcoming listings. Mia, you want to tell us about East Street? You don't look like you're very excited about it. It's Maryville. West Ashley? Yeah. Great location. West Ashley, like by Avondale, kind of. How big is the lot near? Oh, small. Okay. A rebuild. Very cool. Good to know. Good to know. We should do a class on mobile homes. Rini Kramer team has 2011 North Highway 17. This is out in the Meridian. I believe that should just be 2200, not I. think that's a little typo. It is I. Such a long address and funky. So good job on no typo, Tony. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1165 square feet. Y'all know where the Meridian is. Reach out to the Rini Kramer team if you've got somebody. It looks like it's got some nice new floors in there. I don't know what the regime is. 430, 404, 4 something. Lots of money. But you can swim in that pool every day, I bet, if you want to. You can have your breakfast and lunch in that pool. Huh? Upstairs. 1300 Ocean Boulevard. This is Steve Smith's listing. He has 2 of them. This one and this one. 605 and 595. They are the same owner, so he's just playing against himself there. Smart guy. So reach out to them if you've got anybody for this. Obviously, it's on IOP. It's one of the sea cabins. You guys know where that is. And I think that was the last one. Anybody have any other have, wants, and needs before we do a mastery segment? Katrina, I saw your hand first. Very nice. Perfect. End of the week. 975. What's the square footage, Katrina?
It is
Yep. Very nice. Okay. Trad Street's one of my favorite streets. Lisa Northrop has a lovely new listing in Archdale off of Dorchester Road, 2769 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, downstairs master on a corner lot for 500. What else? Pam? Very nice. Perfect.
How many bedrooms? 3 and a loft.
3 bedrooms and a loft. Okay. Allie, you said you've got something?
I have one that I need to get sold on Johns Island in Staggett's Landing. The address is 1212 Updike. 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. There is a bedroom, 1 first floor, not master, but a bedroom and 4 bathrooms. It's listed at 75. Somebody's in Tennessee. We need to get it sold.
Swaggert's Landing.
And then I have another one coming tomorrow, in North Charleston, Country Club. It's another 5 bedroom, 3 bath. It's not on the golf course, it's a first home. They've done right. They have the floor percentage, all of that stuff has been done in it. They're basically a 5 It will require you to join.
Yeah, compared to the other ones.
They're paying 3,800 a year. they're not on the golf course. So they have options as far as involvement on the golf course, and theirs is the lowest, and it's 3,800.
Thorne has a buyer need a single family detached open to a townhome, though downtown minimum 3.2 up to 2 million. And then Leah Fry has a townhome condo need with a garage in Mount Pleasant area, minimum 2-bed up to 550. Retired, so not lots of stairs, and prefers a community with pool and amenities. Anybody else before we wrap? Abby and then Paige. Wow. It's a cool neighborhood, Eagle Landing. Perfect. 600. Mhm. All right, Paige.
I have a first-time home buyer that is looking for single-family detached, either Mount Pleasant, Factory, Grand Island, 20 to 30 minutes to downtown, doing heavy traffic and the detached.
Okay. All right, let's wrap real quick with a peculiar question I'm going to ask you guys. Why do you work? This question was posed in a podcast I was listening to recently, and you know how when you focus on something, then you start to hear about it all the time. So my question to you guys, why do you work? So a research study from the Harvard Business Review surveyed over 20,000 workers. I'm not sure if they're employees or 1099 contractors, but all around the world. It was over 50 major companies conducting scores of experiments and scouring the landscape of academic research in a range of different disciplines. And they came to one conclusion on why people work. What do you think their conclusion was? And it doesn't really answer the question of why people work, but what is it about why? Huh? Yeah, that is probably the answer for a lot of people. What they came up with as their conclusion is the reasons we work determine how well we work. So let's dive in to what they came up with as reasons that people actually work. There's 6 of them they've came up with. Play, purpose, potential, emotional pressure, economic pressure, and inertia. Interesting, right? You're like, sometimes I work for all of those reasons, and sometimes it changes. So are any of these good or bad? Any of these 6 reasons? Gail. Yes. Okay. So if you look at these, they're divided in 2 sets for a reason. These ones on the left, working for play, purpose, or potential, are good. Those are good motivating factors. These ones on the right, working because of emotional pressure, economical pressure, or inertia, not so good. So let's dive into these real quick. My goal when we're talking about what we're doing in the office is to maximize the good. So I'm trying to find more reasons for you guys to be inspired and motivated by working for fun, which is another word for play, right? Because there's purpose in what you do. And there's potential for you to do more, be more, or be more, do more of something that you already are or have, right? All of those things kind of equate to culture. Would you agree? So the word culture, I think, gets used a lot. We were talking about it one time recently in a manager's meeting, and I made a tally for every time someone said the word culture. And in like a 90-minute meeting, it was like 29 times. And it's kind of like the word value. I think sometimes it loses its value when you use the word too much. So let's talk a little bit about that. And culture in general is really hard to define. It's one of those feeling things. So it's kind of like magic, right? Like you have to figure out culture, but you really can't figure it out until you feel it. And sometimes you don't know the culture until you leave a space. And then you're like, wow, I really did miss that. I was talking to an agent who used to be in our office yesterday at lunch, and he said, there is no culture at my current company. And I was like, sorry. And it's just a different office. It's a different setting. So we talked through that a little bit. So again, my goal is always to maximize the good, which can be also known as build and enhance the culture, but then also to maintain the culture, right? Which has a bunch of different facets to it. And ironically, culture brings in those three good motivating factors: purpose, leadership, well-being, appreciation, success, and opportunity. So you heard in their play, you heard in their potential, and you heard in their purpose, right? So let's talk about play. If you are working because you actually enjoy your work, your motivating factor for working is play. If you're motivated by the job itself, your motivating factor right now to show up to work is play. Play is our natural learning instinct. It's typically how we learn things and we enjoy things, and then we get curious and we seek to continue that. I was thinking about this when I was typing it, and I'm like, I bet my agents are going to look at me like I'm crazy when I say you actually enjoy the work you do, because depending on what's going on in your transactions right now, you probably don't enjoy it, but you enjoy the end result, which is the outcome, more than likely, which comes to purpose. So when your direct outcome of your job and what you're doing every day fits with your identity, you're working for purpose. You work because the value of what you do has some kind of tremendous impact on the people you're doing the work to and with. Would you agree? I think this is most people's driving factor. Sometimes work in our world is really fun. Sometimes it's not fun at all, but always has a good purpose to it. And I think that's why most of you show up every day. There's also a little bit of potential in there probably when the outcome of your work benefits you and your identity and your wallet. That inspires you to keep showing up. That's one of the things a lot of you guys like about real estate, is that you can make as much money, earn as much to keep as you would like, depending on the work that you put in. The work enhances your potential to earn, do more, or be something that you already are. So maybe you want to grow to become a leader in the company, or maybe you want to grow to become a coach of some sort. This work, showing up every day, allows you to be more of that, gives you that potential. On the flip side, if you're working for emotional pressure, that's when something external is threatening your identity. So if you're working to avoid disappointing somebody, you're working on emotional pressure. So I've heard sometimes people will come into an interview and they're like, I have to do this because I don't want to let blank down. And I'm like, ooh, that doesn't really seem like your motivation. That's someone else's motivation. So that's not going to last very long. So that's not such a good thing. If you're working because of economical pressure, which is what Josh was alluding to, every single one of us probably has to work to some degree. You might not have to make six figures, but you don't live in a nonprofit world where all your bills are paid for you by someone else, right? So when an external force is actually making you show up, you're working solely to avoid punishment or to gain some kind of reward. That's an economical pressure motivator. So think about that. How could that be a really slippery slope in our worlds? Yeah, commissions, right? So you're willing to sacrifice pretty much anything when you're under this economical pressure. It's really important to identify this one before it gets out of control, right? And then the sixth one, inertia. So this is what Gail was just saying. When you're so far removed from the work itself that you don't even know why you're doing it. So if Andrew's been in the business for 15 years, Andrew, how long have you been a loan officer? 26 years. And you ask Andrew, why are you a loan officer? And if Andrew's response ever becomes, I don't know, I've been doing it for 26 years. I might as well just keep doing it. I don't know how to do anything else. That's not good. Right. And none of us want to get to that point, right? Andrew, we should have a retirement party for you. Like, I was going to say plan sometime soon, right? So inertia, working just because it's all you know and it's all you want to do. It's all you know how to do, not good. So 6 main reasons why people work: play, purpose, and potential. Those are the good ones. Emotional pressure, economical pressure, or inertia, not so good. What's the real difference in these? So play is a direct motivator. Emotional pressure, all those other ones, indirect motivators. If we look at the play, purpose, and potential, those are positive reasons to show up to work. Emotional, economical pressure, inertia, negative reasons to show up to work. So what's the outcome going to be? If you're showing up because of anything on the left side of this column, it will improve your performance. Showing up for any reason on the right side of the column is going to reduce your performance. Maybe not immediately, but over time for sure. So my goal for you guys is to identify these things. Figure out ways to increase the good and minimize the bad. That's called TOMO. I don't know if you ever heard that word in positive psychology and motivation stuff, but TOMO is when you've got total motivation. You've got play, purpose, and potential all working towards you, and the emotional pressure, the economical pressure, and the inertia are subsided. They've been minimized enough. So we've got to figure out, on this podcast, this woman was talking about when you get in the zone and you just go there. For you athletes, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like this magical space that your body just gets into and you don't really hear what's on the outsides. Sometimes you don't know how to get there, but you've got to identify, what signs am I going to have to know that I'm being driven by the negative forces to show up to work? And then what do I do to get back in action? So I'll send these questions out to you, but I want you to think through this and ask yourself, why do I work? Why am I showing up today? Why did you choose to show up today? Allie and I were talking, she's on kids on spring break. She could have stayed home today. But she didn't have to show up today, right? She's on vacation for herself. She's got no kids for a week. That's great. But she chose to show up. Why? Right? Same for all of you. Why did you choose to show up today? If you're not here and you're online, why do you choose to plug in online? What's the big deal? So how can I get more of the good stuff in my work? How can I do more of the play, purpose, and potential and minimize the bad stuff? And how do I recognize when I'm being motivated by the external indirect factors that will negatively inspire me and reduce my overall performance? Money, stress, fear of failure, all that kind of stuff. And then when I figure that out, what are my strategies to realign myself? How do I get back to the play, purpose, and potential stuff? So you've heard us say before, maybe you've just lost sight of your why. That's when you show up and you're like, I don't feel like doing this. And your negative energy just radiates. Not good. Just like when you pull up and you're like ready to be here and your positive energy radiates, right? So if you lose sight of that why, I guarantee you it falls in one of these categories. It's one of your driving motivators that's not in alignment. And you just have to figure out, what are my strategies to realign and get myself back there? I'm happy to help with that sort of thing. I love doing that stuff. But I just wanted to send a message today that we're heading into the busiest season of our market. You know it gets crazy. You know it gets chaotic. Why you work and why you're showing up will determine how well you perform in that chaos. So figure it out now, recognize those values, and then figure out when you slip off and you get into the negative zone, how do I realign and redirect myself? No, I'm here to help. If you need any help. Good? All right. Thanks for being here, guys. Have a good afternoon. I'll be around the rest of the day. What'd you say? Laura was saying something. I got you.